What's happening, sports fans? Welcome back to another episode of Mom and Papa Joe's. This weekend we're going to be doing a brisket cook in collaboration with James from Aim'em and Claim'em. You're definitely going to want to check these two videos out. We're going to be cooking a brisket. I'm going to be doing this brisket cook in two video parts. Part one is going to be the actual prep of the brisket, and then I'll be cooking the brisket tomorrow. And a nice treat for you guys, I'm going to be doing so on my Jambo. If this is your first time checking out our channel, we appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully by the end of this video, part one, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button. Please help us out by doing so. Without further ado, let's get started. So what we have here is a prime from my local HEB. Wasn't much of a selection, and this is actually a pretty solid brisket. Short. It's short and pretty thick, squat. I mean, look at that flat. It's curved underneath. I've told you guys before, you know, we do our best when this brisket is in the package, trying to pick it up. We look for the marbling. And the marbling appears to be fairly nice. We want that thickness in the flat, which this appears to have. I can see some white specks of marbling way down here in the flat. We want to make sure that we don't have an excessive amount of fat in the area of where the point and the flat meet on this thick end. And then we want to be sure that our fat pad doesn't take up way too much room into the meat side of the brisket. So this is not a bad brisket. I'm going to take this to the sink, cut it open, wipe it down, get it cleaned up, and I shall be back. All right, coming out of the bag, not a bad looking brisket. I'm one of those folks, I wash off all my meats. You know, I hear people complain, or people are concerned they're going to contaminate their kitchen. I don't know. What are you doing? Rolling this around on your countertops? Taking it to the couch? Rubbing it around on the floor? There's no way you contaminate your kitchen washing off your meats in the sink. I don't take any chances. So again, this flat side looks really good, but then as we flip over, it gets into some crazy stuff. Never seen anything like this. This appears to be a lot of point that is exposed. We're gonna make this happen. Let's go. First thing I want to do is to knock off this fat pad to really get an idea of what I'm working with. Solid meat, correction, solid fat. It's not going to rend or anything. We don't need it. Now I'm going to start working on some of this fat on top to include silver skin. I work with the knife towards me a lot, so that's why I wear my anti-cut gloves underneath my disposables. The majority of this trim is saved up for hamburgers, meatloaf, anything you want to use it for. The stuff like this silver skin, not so much. Get under that brisket and push upwards in the areas you're working on. You try not to cut any gouges into your flat, because any low areas want to retain water, retain moisture during the cook, and doesn't allow your bark to dry out. All right, we're going to call that good for right now. Let's flip over and see exactly what we've got back here. Let's start with some of this floppy stuff. Let's get rid of that just to see what we're working with. All right, some of this is so lean that it's gonna go and fatty. So again, here, if we check, we've got some exposed flat. We're actually going to trim that even with the bottom of the point at some point. This point runs almost the entire length of the brisket. I told you how short this brisket is to start with, but this is all point. This meat here has hit the has the gray from the hot water wash. I will definitely want to get rid of it. I do not want that being cooked. So as we get down here to the flat, I do not want to leave all of this fat on here. So I'm going to knock it down to about a 1/4 inch or so. Get rid of this gray. Let's get back over. This seam of hard tissue right here has got to go. And this is pretty much where I showed you that overhang that we're going to get rid of. So I'm checking that. Some pretty decent marbling. All right, all this flop right here is gonna go. Round things off. We don't want any angles on this brisket. Angles prevent the smooth flow of heat and smoke over this brisket. Angles want to dry out, crisp up, burn. They tend to want to shred during slicing. Even down here at the flat, want to round off. All right, just a few last minute touch-ups. we're gonna call it good. Okay, this is what we have. Man, there was some seriously thick fat in here that I've managed to knock out without destroying a whole lot of my good point meat. And like I said earlier, look at how far this point comes down, man. This is point way down here. So didn't have to do, I'm not gonna take off this fat. Just gonna leave it right there. All right, still short, but I think she'll dance. I think she'll dance. So once again, I've got rounded edges. I've got some point meat exposed from under my flat. This point meat during the cook is going to shrink underneath and line up pretty well. And I'll be able to get my slices all the way through, or if I decide to split the point and cut that way. But I am more of a fan of slicing my brisket all the way across. But we shall see that tomorrow. Let me know what you think, guys. See you for the cook. Stay tuned.